What's going on, guys? It's your another. Oh my goodness, you're messing me up. Please stop. Just stop. What's going on? You're watching another podcast episode of the Talkin Block, and I hope that you enjoy. Are you done? Are you done? Yeah. Time to listen to the podcast episode of the Talkin Block with your podcast host Nate Larrier, and we are back another week. I appreciate you. It's been a minute. I will say that I thank you, everybody that is upholding and staying in tune with me as I stick in tune with you guys. I just, the past couple 2 months has been a little hefty. Been working, school, trying to make sure that everything I got going on is intact. As for the podcast, as many of you know, just making sure that I am up to date on everything. I know that I've told you guys plenty of times that I am working on writing a book, so making sure that that is in the works. A lot of good things for the podcast, a lot of good things for myself. Just trying to better myself as well as better the podcast, as well as better my life. So I just thank you guys for tuning in once again, and for those of you that have always tuned in. Be sure and remember, if you do not know already, if you're new to the podcast and you're waiting to see what this is about, I completely understand. But for those that are following, have been following, be sure to remember that there is gear out now. Go click the link in the bio on Instagram, TikTok, or here on YouTube, and go get you a t-shirt. I do want to thank my auntie Deidre for helping me out and getting this started. A big support and for my podcast and in my life. So I just thank you so much for helping me out. Make sure to comment down below and say thank you, Auntie Deidre. That is spelled Deedra. But I just honestly, I really much thank her for the help and support that she has given, not only to the podcast, but just in my life. As for what is going on today, we're still going to go about it as usual, but I will tell you that nothing in particular is going to be exaggerated. What I mean is, and just to give you a glimpse, NFL on the ESPN on the Talkin Block, I have not watched any of the games for the past 2 weeks. I've just been watching clips, but we'll talk about all that. But as for poem of the day, we're back with another beautiful poem from your podcast host, Nate Larrier. And again, we know that Nate does not like the title of his poems, but this poem is titled Poem 1. So it goes like this. It's a game of chess. I move, then you. This isn't a draw of luck. I'm not here to satisfy your expectations, to succumb to your witty tricks. I'm not going to be your favorite victim pick. You don't like what I said or how it's done. Be bold and go fish for another one. I am done being pictured as the abuser, wanting to win but ending the loser. I'll flourish beyond measure, escape the scrutiny. It's absurd for you to think that we level together. My wings are brand new, clear as day. Together, I and the wind, we fight for a better, brighter journey to begin. Wrote that a couple years ago, honestly, and I think that this might be the only poem that I actually post a picture of, because there are certain things that I want you to see as this one particular line that I want you to see is be bold enough, go fish for another. In quotations, you see that go fish is backtrack. Go fish is in quotations, and that's because I was thinking about the game Go Fish. When you don't have something, well, this is how the game goes. The game is meant for you to get a certain amount of cards. I think it's cards in order. And what you do is you trade back and forth with somebody. So you'll say, do you have a King of Hearts? And if somebody doesn't have that, you just be like, go fish. If they do have that, you trade. And if that person will go, the next person will go and say, do you have this? Go fish. And the point of the game is, if you don't have it, you say go fish because you don't have it. If you do have it, you trade it. So basically what I was thinking is, if somebody doesn't have something that they want from you, go fish. Go find somewhere else to get it. And if they do have it, well, they'll stay. But at the end of the day, it's not for you and not for them to gain off of only one person's perspective. And that's not to say that it's bad But when you're taking something from somebody and not giving something back, that's where that go fish term in this poem comes from. Go fish, go find something else, go find someone else, go find someplace else, and don't just stick here and expect for me to give you everything, for it to give you everything, for someone in general to give you everything that you want and not give in return. So yeah, I think there, at the same time, I wrote this like at the age of 16, 17. So there's a lot that I can say I was thinking of at this time that, you know, I might want to take in depth of now. As for the beginning, I will say it's a game of chess. I move, then you move. This isn't a draw of luck. I would say that at that time I was like, this is a patient game. It's just not, oh, okay, I moved this and now, oh my goodness, it's open. It was, how strategically can I move about life? How strategically can I move within life and be able to do what I got to do to get to the king, to get to the queen, and successfully do it at the same time, making sure that I don't mess up so that somebody else takes the pawns or the, you know, bishops that I've had. Somebody doesn't mess up and ruin the game plan that I was originally having. Now I got to think about something else and figure out exactly how I'm going to maneuver and change around that to still be able to get to where I need to go. So yeah, it was a lot, and I'm just, you know, I just think that at the age that I was at, I was thinking pretty deeply, but now that I'm older, there's a lot more that I can think about. So yeah, that's Poem of the Day, written by your podcast host, Nathaniel Larrier, and that was titled Poem 1. As for the interesting topics on ESPN, the Talking Block. Whew, man, let me tell you something. Again, I have not watched any of the games at all. I've only seen clips, but I will tell you, things are looking good. As for, we'll talk about week 10. Of course, week 9, I missed week 9, but that's all right. We're just going to continue on in life. We're going to talk about week 10. As for the Bengals and the Ravens, that was a good game. It came down to the last. A lot of these games this week came out into the last minute. I know what. The Ravens and the Bengals, 49ers and the Bucks, Broncos and the Chiefs. I believe, who else? That might be it, honestly. Yeah, that might be it. But it felt like a lot of these. Oh, actually, and the Giants and the Panthers. A lot of these games came down to the last minute. But as for Ravens and the Bengals, that was a good game. There was a lot of back and forth. The Ravens outfits looked real nice, real classy. It looked like a matte, honestly. Their helmets looked matte, but it wasn't like a little shiny, but it was good. It mixed in with the gold. The Ravens look good again. Defense and offense, absolutely outstanding. Joe Burrow, it looks like he's getting in his bag slowly. Just takes time. But as for that, you couldn't stop. You couldn't stop Lamar. Lamar is different. Couldn't stop Lamar. Giants and the Panthers. Bryce Young has won 2 games in a row now. So let's see what else he does for the rest of the season. Do I think that he is going to go to the playoffs? No, but I think that his season is going to get a lot better now that it feels like he's getting comfortable. You saw a couple smiles last week and this week. So we'll see what else Bryce Young has for, you know, future reference. Pause break. And we are back. Just had to take care of something, but it's okay because in the club we all fam. And no, I am not racist. But as I was saying, you know, Bryce Young, he looks good, he looks happy, and there's a possible chance that I won't say that they're going to go to playoffs, but their season might get better. You know, it all depends on how he wants to play and how the offensive line wants to play, how the defensive line wants to play, if the receivers want to catch or not, running backs want to run. It all depends on the players, but they look all right. Let's see who else we got. As for we'll go to the Patriots and the Bears. Drake May, they're talking about him being one of those franchise quarterbacks. I can't say that I did not watch the game, so I don't know exactly what that is that they see in him, but it had to be some good things for them to beat Caleb Williams and for Caleb Williams to lose, which was 19-3. They only got a field goal, no touchdowns. So That's something. 49ers versus the Buccaneers. Saw a couple clips of this. This game came down to the wire. I also will say Christian McCaffrey is back. Saw the NFL post on their TikTok him walking out of the tunnel. At the same time, he caught a little pass. I don't think he got a touchdown, but he got a couple yards. It's nice to see him back. NFL thought he was going to be out for the whole season. I thought he was going to be out for the whole season. Many 49ers fans thought he was going to be out for the whole season, but he said it's time to get that ring. So we'll see how he does for the rest of the season. This did set up, and it's sad to say, not really, well, for me at least, but this set up in history, almost all major all major football teams in Florida to lose. I know that practically every college football team lost to the opposing team. Buccaneers lost, Jags lost. The only Florida team that won was the Dolphins. But yeah, that game came down to the wire. A couple seconds into the game, 49ers kick a field goal, they make it. Broncos and the Chiefs. Many Chiefs fans said that they thought Broncos had it in the bag, but yet again, this is where I think that, they may be right, and the NFL might be just a little scripted, just a little, because the Chiefs ended up blocking a field goal and are now 9-0. Only have one more game left until they are in the runnings. And granted, we already know that they are going to go, but in the runnings for playoffs. 10 games to put you in a good position to go to playoffs. Broncos, I didn't watch much, but from what I saw, they look pretty good, and for them to beat by only 2 points by an undefeated team, it's not that bad when you look at it. Bills versus the Colts, 30-20. Joe Flacco was in this game. I think that's kind of one of the main reasons why. Granted, I don't know if Anthony Richardson was hurt or not, but it was just looking bad for Joe Flacco. Not a lot of good completions there. But on the Bills side of things, Keenan Coleman looked good. Josh Allen always looking amazing. Like I've said from the beginning, I'm a Josh Allen fan. Might not be a Bills fan, but I am a Josh Allen fan, and Josh Allen looks good. I know they play the Chiefs next week, so that is going to be a game to watch because the Bills are going to give them a run for their money. Steelers versus the Commanders. This game, I watched so many clips of it, and it was absolutely crazy. George Pickens came up with a nice little turnaround, little touchdown. The Commanders only lost by 1 point. Steelers won 28, and the Commanders had 27. Do not discount either one of them out, especially the Commanders. Jaden Daniels still and always will ride this till the end until we figure it out who it is. But Jaden Daniels, Rookie of the Year. Again, both teams, I feel like have good contention spots for playoffs. How far they get in playoffs, I think that the Commanders might make it a little further than the Steelers, but I think both of them are going to make it pretty far. Jags and the Vikings. This was a little, from the clips that I saw, granted, but it wasn't a lot too much. The Vikings won. Again, I think, who was the quarterback? Mac Jones. Mac Jones, all I got to say to you is you kind of walked into the wrong franchise at the wrong time, because what's the Jags' current standings right now? The Jags are 2-8, and that is crazy. I don't know. I don't know about the Jags this year. I've really never known about the Jags, honestly, but this game was just And I'm the Vikings too. They didn't put up as much points as they normally do, but they came out with the win. They're also another team that I still think has really good contention spot for the playoffs. Falcons versus Saints. Kirk Cousins, I just don't think that was his game, honestly. I really don't. And don't get me wrong. Again, another team that I feel has a lot of good chances for the playoffs. As for the Saints, they probably just had a better day. Because honestly, I still think that the Saints were faking it those first two games and they just lost it. So Kirk Cousins had a little off game, and that's all right. The Saints won 20-17. Titans versus Chargers. Justin Herbert out there. And, the Titans lost D-Hop. So what do they have now? Really nobody. And that's exactly why they most likely lost, because they have nobody, and Levis is Levis, and he's just the face of the team right now, doing whatever he does on the field. So, yeah. Cardinals versus the Jets. Kyler Murray, McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr. Oh, man. That's a good team right there. I don't want to say that they're going to be a team that, forcefully makes it into the playoffs, but they're going to be a sneaky team that, just slides under the radar. They look really good. At the same time, Jets are going to be Jets. I had a lot of faith in them at first. I was like, okay, they got Aaron Rodgers, and then Devontae Adams came in. I was like, okay, he got his old teammate back. Let's see what they cook up. Not cooking up nothing the same. Just same old Jets. So yeah, that's that. The Cardinals won 31-6, and let's talk about the Eagles and the Cowboys. Eagles look good. They look like the 2018 Super Bowl Eagles. Just can't wait to see what they do. I know last week I missed it. I didn't talk about it, but Saquon Barkley hit his backup, and not backup, but reverse hurdle, jumping over somebody backwards. This week, nothing too spectacular, but he still looks good. Spin, dipping, dodging, hurdling, whatever you want to do, trucking, all that jazz. So yeah, the Eagles, they look good, and Saquon Barkley, he's thriving in that team. Jalen Hurts looks real good, playing real good. I think they finally figured out what it was between the center and Jalen, because it looks like there's a lot more camaraderie and relationship between them. Granted, I don't think it's going to be like Jason Kelce and Jalen Hurts, but it looks good to set them up for success. Lions versus Texans. This game was funny. 2 times did the Lions kicker make it just literally by the hair on their chin. One in the middle of the game, and then one to secure the win for the game. Literally, like it was balls coming, just ever so slightly right past in between them posts. And I mean, hey, he did what he had to do, and he won the game. They won 26-23. And last but not least, the Dolphins and the Rams. Oh man, I had a lot of faith in them last week, and then it just said again, they disappoint me. I thought with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua back, they would be on a rise. They were now going 4-4, and now they're 4-5. Tua Tagovailoa looks good. Odell Beckham Jr. is in the game. I will say that Puka Nacua was ejected last week, so I don't know if that had to do with anything, but it's all right. Hopefully they come back next week. They'll be stronger, wiser, smarter, faster, harder, everything, because I just need them to get together. As for the Dolphins, hey, we'll see what they do. I think the Dolphins are what? Let's see. The Dolphins are 3-6, so they got a long way to go, but we'll see how their journey takes off forward, moving on. As for what we think about next week, if you're new to the podcast, I talk about next week's games, and we just give our predictions. As for Commanders versus the Eagles, that's going to be a good game. I honestly, two good quarterbacks battling it out, but I'm giving it to the benefit of the doubt. And they're not underdogs, but they are underdogs in this situation. I'm going to say the Commanders are going to win that game. I don't know what it is, but I got a strong feeling the Commanders are going to win that game. Raiders versus the Dolphins, I'm going to give it to the Dolphins. Saints versus the Browns, I'm going to give it to the Saints. Colts versus the Jets, I'm going to give it to the Colts. Vikings versus the Titans, I'm going to give it to the Vikings. Packers versus the Bears, I'm going to give it to the Packers. Jordan Love going to do his thing if he starts. If not, Willis is also a good backup, so no matter what, the Packers. Jaguars versus the Lions all the way. Rams versus the Patriots, honestly, can't even tell you. Really can't even tell you. I mean, we'll just leave that one on hold as it is. Ravens versus Steelers, that's going to be a good game, but I'm going to give it to the Ravens. 49ers versus Seahawks, I'm going to give it to the 49ers. Falcons versus the Broncos, I'm going to give it to the Falcons. Bills versus the Chiefs. Like I said, I'm a big time Josh Allen fan. Josh Allen's going to give him Patrick Mahomes a run for his money. But weirdly enough, I'm going to give it to the Chiefs. If the Bills win, it is going to be based off of some type of penalty. I'm so serious. It's going to be based off of some type of penalty. Don't know what the penalty is, but if the Bills win, I think it is going to be off of a penalty, because we saw the way that things turned out last week against the Broncos. I don't know. Again, Josh Allen fan all the way, but I think that the Chiefs might win. Bengals versus the Chargers, I'm going to give it to the Bengals. And then Texans versus the Cowboys, I'm going to give it to the Texans. And that is everything on the ESPN on the Talking Block. As for the news, let's get a little serious for a minute. One of the main reasons why I did not record last week is because it was election week. And it's funny, somebody came up to me, texted me earlier today and was like, well, not today. Oh my goodness, I'm trying to think. Earlier last week, and they were like, "Hey Nate, how do you feel about the election?" I was like, I mean, and they brought up the fact that I had a podcast, I had all this stuff, and I was like, well, if you want my honest opinion, and I think I gave a pretty good analogy, but I compared it to death. This is how I thought about it. The presidency and death they're both inevitable. No matter what, everybody's going to die. No matter what, we were going to get a president. Doesn't matter who the president was. In this case, you had the option of how you wanted to die. In this case, you had the option to choose who you wanted to be president. Just because you knew that death is bad, just because you felt like the presidency, whoever was in office, was going to be, the United States was going to be messed up, was going to be screwed, whatever, doesn't mean that you should not have chosen how you wanted to die, or doesn't mean how you should have chosen who you wanted to be president. Furthermore, one thing that I surely want to talk about now is, just because one of your friends chose one way does not mean that you dismiss, disregard, cut off, unfollow, such and such. At first, I wanted to say that I understood, yeah, I get it. But then thinking about it, I didn't. How I think about it is, your friend chose one way to die. You chose the other way to die. Both of you are going to die no matter what. Both of you are going to choose a president if you choose the president. Both the president is going, it's inevitable, like I've been saying. But just because somebody else chose one way and you chose the other does not mean that that person has changed. Their morals still might be in right standing. You guys might have different views, yes, but you guys can talk about it. A better way to put it is, you're at a party, both of you want cake, one person chooses the other side, chooses one cake, the other person chooses the other. Y'all really gonna disargue and be unbefriend because of how somebody chose a cake? That cake might satisfy that person more than the other. This president might satisfy that person's satisfactions, or whatever the case may be, more than the other. Doesn't mean that they're gonna, think of you differently. Granted, there are some people that do support this president and are very vile, very rude, very disrespectful, such and such. But that is not the case for everybody. Some people just thought that he was going to do what was best for them. And yeah, it might be a little selfish, but we all got to do what we want to do for what's best for us. And that's just how I broke it down to him. I'm not going to say who I chose for, but I just will say that don't let, honestly, and I speak to my supporters, my fans, my listeners. If you are one of those people that has unbefriended somebody because of how they chose, you're not following what the Talking Block stands for. The Talking Block is to change one mind so that mind can change another. Those minds can change so many more, and we become a chain to change minds. If you unbefriended somebody just because of how they chose, instead of talking about it, instead of learning exactly where they stand, once you learn how they stand against that president, and then if you feel like it's not right, that's fine to unbefriend them. That's fine to dismiss themselves from your life. That's fine to stay avoidant from that. But if you don't even know how they stood and you just automatically, you chose this president, so now I'm going to unbefriend you, that's not right. And wanting this president dead, or you saying that he needs to be assassinated, is another reason why that's not right. You're not a true listener of the podcast. I get it. He might have some crazy policies, but we are here to change one mind. That mind change another. Those minds change so many more. And asking somebody to kill him is not the way to go. So all I gotta say is, it's 4 years. No matter what happens. And I get it. He's thinking, some people are thinking, he's gonna take out democracy, or he's trying to make it a dictatorship. I don't believe that's gonna happen. I really don't. So we just got 4 years to get through this. All right. As for black news, all I gotta say is, to the black people, we support each other. We really did. No matter how it may look overall, and I've seen it a lot on TikTok, we came together, we talked about it. Granted, there a lot of people are saying, hey, there are some people that chose one side more than the other, but we stuck together no matter what. And it's really nice to see, again, I think that we are going to take most effects from this. Um, I get it. There are some crazy policies. I know that immigration is going to be one thing, but even then, in that we can see the differences in those communities, and then when we look at our community, the black community, we are sticking together. We are ride and die no matter what. And again, like I said, there are some people that chose different sides, but that is all right. As for choosing a different side, don't dismay from them still being a part of the community. All right, it is what it is. And again, like I said, you got to talk to them before you even think about, oh, they're not black no more, oh, they need to be revoked of their black card. Hear them out. Let them talk. Let's have a conversation. Let's figure out what it is exactly. Honestly, if they chose him and they still have morals that's similar to yours, there has to be something about what they're going through that isn't what you're going through that you need to understand. And that's all that it is. But I just, for everybody, peace and love, man. And honestly, it just 4 years. That's all we got. Okay? All right. I thank you for taking the time to listen. Again, I hope I'll be back next week. Work, school, it's got me busy. It's got me on my toes. So we'll see. It's lucky that I'm recording on a Tuesday because normally I'm recording on a Wednesday, Thursday. But we'll see. Again, go get your gear. If you love the podcast, you want to support, go get your gear. Go get a t-shirt. We got the Halloween kind of festive one, but it's still going to be out for fall. We also got a whole bunch of ones that you can make. There's a couple colors out there on the website, but if you want to design your own colors, DM me on Instagram at the.talkin.block and let me know what you want, what colors you want, how you want to design it. Working in the works of Christmas themed ones, so we'll see about that. Okay. All right. Make sure to follow me on TikTok at toast.2.becoming and Instagram at the.talkin.block. Make sure to listen on any previous podcast episodes on Spotify, Podcast, Radio Public, wherever you get your audio podcast from. Support. Once again, thank you, Auntie Deidre, for helping me with the shirts, getting me started. Big support in my life and just in my podcast too. So I greatly appreciate that. I just thank all of you guys for supporting and loving and sticking with me no matter what it seems like is going on. And yeah, that's all I got. This is your podcast host, Nate, and you will be watching another podcast episode on YouTube of The Talkin Block, TTB, Toast to It Coming. If I can change one mind, that mind will change another. Those minds will change so many more, and we become a chain of changed minds. And I will see y'all next week.